This is a celebration of baseball here in Birmingham. And of course, the Giants and the Cardinals will play on Thursday night. And it's with heavy heart that I read this statement issued by the San Francisco Giants. It's with great sadness that we announce that Giants legend, Hall of Famer, Willie Mays has passed away at the age of 93. And here we are in a celebration in a ballpark where he got his start as a 17-year-old playing for the Black Barons. He was 17 when he joined them. And they won the Negro League American League that year. Willie Mays has passed away.
Rich Waltz was on the microphone televising the minor league game during the celebration at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, when he let the crowd know, the viewership audience know, that Willie Mays had passed at the age of 93. Rich Waltz, kind enough to join me now to talk about that moment and also talk about his memories of the Say Hey Kid. Rich, thank you so much for being with us today. I mean, that had to have been a difficult moment for you. You're there to broadcast a minor league game at what was a celebration of events in Birmingham, and I would imagine that hit you pretty hard. Take us through that moment.
You know, it was a confluence of a lot of things. We were doing a AA game to start the 3 days or the 3 nights at Rickwood, but really we were there to set the tone and celebrate the Negro Leagues, talk about the history of Rickwood, and Mays was such a big part of that. So you're in his hometown. He was born like 4 miles from the ballpark. That was the ballpark where he played his first professional game. And the event really was set up for not only the Negro Leagues, but also as a salute to Mays. And then, you know, suddenly you hear, you know, from the truck that he's passed away. And we had a few minutes to get ready to announce it to the country. And for me, you know, look, you're thinking about, well, how do I do this? You know, you want to be the announcer and the voice of, you know, the show and have that, catch that right tone. But at the same time, I mean, look, I'm a Bay Area kid. So when I was 5 years old, my dad took me to Candlestick and pointed to center field. So that's Willie Mays. It was late in his career, but he's still the best in the game. So I think what you heard there was me trying to be, you know, keep it together. And that 5-year-old me was still, you know, in that moment. When you lose your first sports hero, I'm sure, you know, like I think I remember Bob Costas eulogizing Mickey Mantle and hearing the emotion in his voice. And I think that's what you heard with me in that moment. But I was really lucky because I had Chris Young with me, Roy Wood Jr. with me, Keith Costas was our producer, Dan Gentili was our director. I had a great crew. It's you know, sports on TV is a team sport. We had a really good team there in a really surreal moment, and that's helped all of us, I think, get through it.
Yeah, you had mentioned he was your first sports hero. You were introduced to him at the tender age of 5, and Willie always played with such a joyfulness and an exuberance. Any other memory of the Say Hey Kid, Rich, that sticks out for you?
No, just, you know, in the Bay Area at that time when I was 5 and then playing Pee Wee baseball, you know, Mays was still the guy. The A's were just starting to get good. And I remember as a Pee Wee leaguer running the bases, I would always, like, if I'm running around second or first, I would always knock my helmet off because that was Mays always seemed to run out from under his helmet when he was racing around the bases, especially when he was, you know, there he's trotting on a home run. But a lot of times when he was going first to third, the helmet would come off on when he was coming around second. And, you know, look, basket catches and just that exuberance that Mays showed, you know, from what was an incredibly long career, just, I think, attracted kids like me who were at that age just getting their start in baseball.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that I really wish that Willie could have been there to see this celebration and his career to come full circle. But I tell you what, Fox and Major League Baseball Network and everybody did such a tremendous job honoring the Negro Leagues and honoring Willie Mays. It looked like you want to say something else, Rich. Go ahead.
Yeah, yesterday I'm here in St. Louis. I was around the Cardinals yesterday and the Giants. The Giants were playing the Cardinals. That series, they took a day off Friday, then they came up here. Both sides were still talking about the experience at Rickwood. Bob Melvin talking about just he played there as a minor leaguer and obviously has a connection to the Bay Area. He's a Bay Area guy, and obviously with the Giants and Willie Mays. And even the Cardinals just talked about how great the experience was, not only playing on the field, but being around the Negro League players. And just getting a little more history and the hardships what they went through, but that was just it's still the carryover for those two teams that were involved is still pretty strong.
Yeah, certainly apropos for the Giants to be there, but I know the St. Louis Cardinals appreciated it and loved it just as much. And you are on the call tonight, Rich, for the MLB Network showcase game. It's going to be the Cardinals and the Atlanta Braves. Time now for our Meineke keys to the game. And I know that you wanted to start, as far as your keys to the game, with where it all starts, the leadoff spot. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, first, I'm all in with Stephen Kwan with you, but the leadoff spot for these two teams is pretty interesting to me. The Braves, obviously, with Acuna and Harris down, have gone through a shuffle in the leadoff spot. But all of a sudden, Jerry Kelnick for the Braves has been plugged into that leadoff spot. And, man, he's been rolling. In the offseason, he and Kevin Seitzer kind of adjusted his swing. His hands are a little bit lower. He's quicker to the ball. And plug and play in the leadoff spot, 3 homers, a 324 average. He was terrific in the series win over the Yankees. That's his last 8 games. These are the numbers for Kelnick. And this is a guy, look, man, he came up to the big leagues early. He had a really nice start in Seattle, had some issues after an at-bat didn't go his way. But, all of a sudden now plugging him in, he's been terrific in the outfield as well. So that's number one. The other one, leadoff spot, is Mason Wynn. Now, when you stick a rookie at shortstop in the major leagues, you're just hoping he stays above water. And Mason Wynn has done a lot more than that. They loved his defense. Man, in the leadoff spot, he's been outstanding. He's just a tick under 300, a 342 on base. And against the Giants, starting in Rickwood and then the last 2 games here in St. Louis, a sweep of the Giants. He was 5 for 12, 3 doubles, 5 runs. He's kind of jump-started and been part of this real nice resurgence for the Cards. They're 24-13 since Aldemar Marmol and Daniel Descalso got tossed out of the game. But that's going to be a theme tonight, too, is how the Cards have turned it around and how the Braves have won 8 of their last 12, or 8 of the last 10, actually.
Mason Wynn, a big part of that group that loved what happened over the course of the Rickwood Field and talked about his thoughts and memories of Willie Mays. And I'm glad, Rich, that you're on the Stephen Kwan train. We're going to get to your power source in a second. I wanted to correct myself, though. Stephen Kwan, I said that he had a hit in every game. He's obviously hit first in every game. He's actually had 8 hitless games, but he's been tremendous for the Cleveland Guardians. All right, back to this game between the Braves and the Cardinals. You're talking about power source, and it's not the likely suspects with St. Louis. It's not Arenado, and it's not Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, well, look, they're not having both those guys. Arenado's hurt. I think he's questionable tonight. He had a shot in his left elbow after getting his right elbow hit by a pitch. So, if you're the Cardinals, those are the 2 guys you're looking for. They're perennial all-stars. They didn't have all-star type seasons last year, and it's not happening again this year. But the Cardinals have found some young bats that have really come to the forefront, and especially in the Giants series, and yesterday as well, the lefty bats. Alec Burleson is on fire right now. He may be the all-star or playing like an all-star. Burleson against the Giants just wrecked them. I mean, absolutely wrecked them. I was 7 of 13, 2 homers, drove in 7 in that 3-game series. It's a nice balanced lineup for the Cardinals. They got the righty bats, but the lefty bats have been terrific as well. There's Burleson's numbers. And then if you change the page to the Atlanta Braves, I know they got a lot of bats, they got a lot of all-stars, but from the end of July of last year and certainly this year, their best hitter has been Marcell Ozuna. And Ozuna has just been terrific for them. Since late July last year, one of the best in Major League Baseball. Now, obviously, Acuna's out. And Riley's getting hot. You hope Olsen, your hope gets rolling. But Ozuna's been a rock. And, look, you go back 2-3 years ago, some people thought he wasn't going to play out his contract in Atlanta. But they've stuck with him. And for Ozuna, man, look at the average. Look at the doubles. Look at the home runs. That's since July 28th of 2003. And the slugging percentage is the best in baseball. I think, now, if you follow the Braves, you certainly know that. But I think people across the country would be surprised that Ozuna's been that good since the end of July. And that's really helped the Braves, who's won 8 of their last 10, kind of manage injuries behind the plate, injuries with Acuna and all of that. So, look, these are 2 hot teams coming in here tonight, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Rich Waltz on the microphone tonight. MLB Network Showcase game, 7:45 p.m. Eastern, first pitch. Rich, thanks for your memories of the Say Hey Kid. Thanks for being with us, and enjoy the game tonight.